Hi, my name is Stephanie. I'm a journalism student at San Diego State University, and today I will be taking you on a historical tour of, the LA Times front pages. We'll be taking a look at 4 front pages from the time span of 1881 to 2022. Now, the first page we're looking at is from December 4th, 1881. The first thing you may notice is that back then it was called Los Angeles Daily Times. And on the left-hand side, we see 3 densely packed columns of editorial content. On the right-hand side are again densely packed columns of advertisements. There also are no photographs on this front page, and there are just teeny tiny little drawings to accompany the advertisements. The next thing that I noticed was there was quite a bit of white space in the title, definitely in contrast to the rest of the front page, which is very densely packed with ads and editorial. Let's take a closer look at the advertisements on that front page. So in the left-hand photo, and I apologize for the photo quality, but you can see that there are some advertisements for a real estate agent. There's also an advertisement in the middle for something called the Prescott House, and there you can see little drawings that accompany the advertisement. On the right-hand column, there is more editorial content, and the paragraphs are very densely packed, very long, and not broken up to encourage flow and entice the reader to keep reading like you would see today. Of 1912. This was only a few days after the Titanic had sank, and as you can see, there are a number of changes on this front page in contrast to the last one that we looked at. For one thing, the title has a lot more illustrations to accompany it, and there are also 2 photographs of the Titanic on this page. So let's take a closer look at the title. You can see in the illustration that there is a boat, there's also a bird, and some buildings. I think that's an interesting addition to the title. However, I do feel like the words Los Angeles get kind of mixed up and lost in those drawings. Another thing that I find interesting is the length of the headline. It's very lengthy in comparison to what you would see today in print journalism. And then below it is a longer headline that gives people a little bit more information into the sinking of the Titanic. And taking a closer look at these 2 photographs, it's interesting that the photograph on the bottom right-hand corner is not aligned straight. It's slanted a little bit, which I feel gives it a bit of a scrapbook type, like photo album feel to it, which is an interesting take. I'm not sure exactly why the photo editor decided to slant it like that, but it is an interesting thing to take note of. Another thing that I noticed is that there are no advertisements on this front page at all. It's all editorial content and photographs and the list of the survivors. Taking a closer look at the bottom half of the page, you can see that there are no advertisements. It's all editorial content. Moving on to our third front page, this one is from April 13th of 1945. And I feel like this front page is an interesting one because it, again, is very densely packed with editorial content and only has 1 photograph. You'll also take note that the title, Los Angeles Times, the illustrations that we saw on the last front page are no longer there and have been replaced with some type of crest or coat of arms. The font for the title has also been changed, and this font is a little bit more medieval and is not as attention-grabbing or clean-cut as the first ones that we've seen. Another interesting thing to note is that the headlines have become shorter. If you recall to the headlines for the Titanic front page, those were very long in comparison to these. And here's a closer look at some of the articles on that front page. You can see that the paragraphs are starting to get a little shorter and easier to read. I think this helps with the flow a lot. Another thing that helps with the flow is the additional white space you can see in these articles in contrast to the previous front pages that we've looked at. The last front page we're looking at is from October 12th of 2022. It's a lot different than the last ones. You can see that there are 3 photographs on this one, and the font has changed in the title as well as more white space being added. The columns are evenly spaced out and easy to follow. And you can tell here that in the articles, the paragraphs are getting a lot shorter and much easier to read. There's only one advertisement on this page, but it does take up a significant amount of space at the bottom. It's also got a solid background color that makes it stand out from the rest of the page, but not in a way that's aggressive to the reader or makes the reader feel like it's in their face. And that wraps up the evolution of the LA Times front pages. Thank you for watching.